And the US also made a very conscious decision not to get involved either in post-conflict reconstruction in Libya or in the civil war in Syria, largely making an argument that these don't really rise to the level of national interest that would require our engagement, and secondly, that the American public is tired of foreign engagements in the Middle East, and that these things would probably sort themselves out. Well, they sorted themselves out in the form of ISIS, which, given the very low threshold of tolerance Americans have for terrorism, meant that we would have to at least try to re-engage with the region. Now, ISIS, I think, is a much bigger deal than we actually make it out to be, or we understand that it is. We understand it as a terrorism threat, or as a vicious organization that does ridiculous and horrendous things, in our opinion. But the bigger challenge of ISIS is actually political. This is a movement that has traction with a certain segment of the Sunni Arab world, largely because its display of power is very attractive. Its methods may not be, its tactics are not, but it's seen as a movement that essentially has been able to conquer territory. For the first time since World War I, it has actually redrawn the map of the Middle East, and it has managed to reverse American policy on the Middle East. Why ISIS appeals to tribes in Mosul or did at one point to tribes in Mosul or parts of Syria, and why does it appeal to European youth is very different. In Europe, there is a problem of alienation among young people who neither identify with the original country where their parents or grandparents came from. ISIS's show of force is appealing to Muslims, particularly Arabs, who feel that they've lost in every single battle. Their governments may be popular in Washington, but they really don't deliver. They don't deliver on the battlefield. They don't deliver at the diplomatic table. They don't deliver on socioeconomic issues. So there is an appeal on ISIS until actually ISIS rules over them. Then the appeal can very, very quickly become stale. Now, ISIS at some level is, yes, it has an ideological dogma and very radical views of Islam, but it is a political force. It's a military force on the ground. It's conquering territory, it's building an economy, it's building a government, it's ruling over territory by terror as well as alliances and other methods. It has a strategy, it has an administrative structure, it has a tax collection system. I would say the way to think about ISIS is a state in formation.